guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my anxiety story. So you guys know, if you've been watching my Vlogtober videos, I've mentioned here and there my anxiety has been kind of rough lately, and I've kind of been talking about it, and a lot of people have been super sweet and they've either said that they struggle, or you know, they've tried to give advice and tips and everything like that. So I decided I wanted to sit down and talk about this. I've talked about it briefly on my channel before, but I wanted to open up and be real with you guys and talk about it because it's real life, and it's my life, it's my truth. So I wanted to share it with you. But I do want to put a disclaimer on this video because I never ever want somebody to be triggered by my videos. So if drowning, dying, anything like that triggers you, please click out of this video, because I don't want anybody to be triggered by it. My other disclaimer in this video is that I am a Christian. I believe in God, and I'm going to talk about that because it has a lot to do with my story. But that does not mean that I'm trying to push that on you. I think everybody, you know, has a right to believe whatever they want to believe, or whatever they believe. So when I'm talking about it, I'm not trying to force it down your throat or anything like that. I just want you to know that. But I am going to talk about it because that, for me, this is my experience and this is my truth, and I want to share that with you guys. So those are my disclaimers on this video. I'm already getting emotional, as you can tell, because this is a very hard thing to talk about. It's very hard to like completely open up on the internet, and even just with people in my own life, I struggle with this. And so here we go. We're just gonna jump in, ripping the band-aid off. Let's go. So whenever I was 2.5, so the year was 1991. I know you guys are like that. You don't look that old, I know. But I am, I'm 30, and this happened when I was 2.5. It happened September 11th, 1991. So 10 years before the September 11th stuff happened. I had a different September 11th story that completely changed the whole course of my life, basically. So I was with my babysitter. We had gone over to my friend's house, and I think there was a yard sale or something they were helping work on with whatever. And also I'm gonna put like a little note here. I still went to the same babysitter after all this happened. My mom didn't hold anything against anyone. Like it was an accident, a complete and total accident, and could have happened to anyone. So I do want to put that out there because I don't want it to seem like I just wasn't being watched. That's not what happened. But anyway, I feel like so frazzled and I'm all over the place with this video. So I really hope that you guys can follow what I'm saying. So anyway, we're at a friend's house, and my friend, so my babysitter watched a couple different kids, and she watched this little boy, and we were friends. I think he was like a year older than I was, and it was at his house. We went to his house. I think my babysitter was helping his mom with this yard sale or whatever. And so we were running around in the backyard just playing, and there was like a fence here and like a garden or something here, so like you had to kind of go by the fence to get by it. And I was following my friend, and he ran by the fence and just kept going around to the other side of the house. And as I got up to the fence, there were dogs on, like the neighbor's dogs on the other side, and they were barking and really scary. And I'm 2.5, like I'm terrified they're gonna jump over the fence. So I started backing up, and I didn't realize there was a swimming pool behind me, and I fell in. And I was in there, sorry guys. I was in there for about 7 or 8 minutes before anybody found me. And again, it could happen to anybody. I don't hold anything against anybody. And when they pulled me out of the water, I was blue. I didn't have a pulse. I shouldn't be here today. Let me tell you that. It is only because God wasn't done with me yet that I'm still here. so emotional for me because I literally can still remember it. Like, I don't have a lot of memories of like before I was 5 years old, but I have this one and I remember this day like it was yesterday. Anyway, so they, you know, called the ambulance. They got there, couldn't get a pulse. Finally got me to where I had a pulse, like I was breathing again. They'd gotten the water out of my lungs, but on the way to the hospital, they kept like pulling over because they kept losing me. And so anyway, they get to the hospital. My poor mom has been called. She's a single mom. She worked, my grandparents owned a Mexican restaurant, and she was basically running the restaurant with my uncle, and they had to call my grandparents to get there, and they were like, we've got to go, we've got to get to the hospital. So they get there, and thankfully I'm okay after all this, but I mean, it was very terrible. Like, I really, when I say I shouldn't be here, I really shouldn't be here right now. And even the responders, actually after all this, my grandpa invited them to his restaurant, and he was like, whatever you want, you saved my grandbaby, like whatever you want. They basically told him, like, we don't see, you know, a happy ending when we get when we get called to stuff like this. Like, she wasn't there, you know. And so anyway, fast forward through all that traumatic mess. I'm sorry, you guys, like, anyway, so after that, the doctors thought it was an absolute miracle, one, that I was alive, but two, that I didn't have any brain damage. I had no permanent damage from this. They said that I probably would likely get pneumonia a lot because my lungs had been weakened from this, and I've had pneumonia one time. So I think I'm doing pretty good, but I did suffer from PTSD and separation anxiety, really, really bad separation anxiety, which to this day I still struggle with, you guys. And that's kind of bringing it all to now. I feel like 99% of my anxiety issues or things that I struggle with have to do with that day and that experience. And so I wanted to share that with you guys because I don't know if anybody else has that same experience or same story, or if you're going through PTSD, or you're going through separation anxiety or depression or anything like that. I don't know if like my story can really help you, but I just hope that I can give you some encouragement, because even though I still struggle, I do have a lot of good days. Like, it's not all bad. You can get through it. It just takes time, and you have to be patient and kind to yourself. Anyway, so I had a lot of PTSD, so I went to a therapist when I was younger. I had night terrors after that. My mom said it was like the craziest thing. My eyes would be wide open and I'd be like the meanest kid ever. In the middle of the night running around the house, and then like I would wake up the next morning and be perfectly rested and have no idea that any of that happened. And I suffered with those until I was about 6 years old. So from about 2.5 to 6 years old, I would have night terrors. And like I said, I had a lot of separation anxiety. I still do. Like, I still have really bad separation anxiety from my mom to where I will worry about her all the time. I'll feel like I need to be on the phone with her all day, every day, because I need to make sure she's okay. And I need, you know, I need her to like, you know, be able to talk to me so I can be okay. And then as far as the PTSD goes, my mom made it a point to get me back in the water. She didn't want me to be scared of the water, but she said that the first time she took me swimming, I think water got splashed in my face and I started throwing up because I just was freaking out about it. And then the first time I heard a dog bark after that, I started crying hysterically, and my mom didn't know the whole story. Like, nobody really knew the thing about the dogs because nobody was really there when it happened, obviously. It was just me. But you know, then I started talking about it and people started putting the pieces together. But the first time I heard a dog, I cried hysterically. You know, it's just really rough. And I don't, thank goodness, I'm not afraid of water. I go swimming. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm not scared of swimming either. I'm not scared of that. But I definitely still struggle with separation anxiety from my mom. And the doctor said that that was because this happened and my mom wasn't there. And so she's my safe person, and I know that if I'm with her, I'm safe. And still 28 years later, I'm still feeling, and you know that sounds like silly because it's like you were 2.5 and like you're an adult now. And I know a lot of kids go through it and they grow out of it, but it's something that I still struggle with. I'm a lot better than I used to be. I'm so much better than I used to be, but I still have those days that are hard. And the other day, that was what was going on, is I was having really bad separation anxiety, and I felt like I just needed to be on the phone with my mom. I just needed to be on the phone with her 24/7, and it's really hard to do your work when you feel like you have to be on the phone 24/7. And so, so yeah, that's my story. I know that it's only because God wasn't done with me that I'm still here. And I'm so grateful that I didn't have any permanent damage, that I didn't die that day. I mean, technically I died, but I didn't, like, I'm not still dead, if that makes sense. And so I'm just really, really grateful for that. But I do struggle with anxiety because of it. I struggle with separation anxiety, and I struggle with some like generalized anxiety. And it all just stems back to that moment. And I think I also struggle with, I don't want to say I have OCD because I've never been diagnosed with that. I've also never really talked to a therapist about this piece of it before, because that wasn't like the primary thing when I was going to the therapist. But I struggle with like obsessive thoughts where like I don't do something a certain way, I think something bad is going to happen to someone that I love. And so, like I said, I don't want to say like I have OCD because I don't know, but I just know, like, researching it, other people have this who have OCD where they like have these obsessive thoughts. But like one time I had my Apple Watch on, and I had convinced myself that if I didn't get all of my rings, like if I didn't close all of my rings that day, that something bad was going to happen to somebody I loved. And then when that happened, it would be my fault because I didn't close my rings. And I realized how silly that may sound to somebody who doesn't experience that, but like just stuff like that, like I think those things all the time. And it was just so bad. Like James had to take my Apple Watch from me. I mean, that's not why I'm not wearing it today, I just didn't have a charge. But like for a time he had to do that because he had to show me like, look, if this doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that bad things are going to happen to the people that you love. And it's just like training your brain when you have those thoughts, training your brain that it's wrong and that's not what's going to happen. But it's very, very, very hard. And I don't really share a lot of that with people, that I have those thoughts, because I think, oh my goodness, like I know in my head like how ridiculous it sounds, and I'm afraid like people are gonna laugh at me or whatever. But like I have those thoughts of like, if I don't do this, bad things are gonna happen. After my grandpa died, the night before he died, I was watching a movie and it got really late and I forgot to call him. And then after that, I was convinced that if I ever watched that movie again, that something bad would happen or somebody that I loved would die. And it took me, my grandpa, it'll be 9 years in January. January of this year, I finally watched that movie again to prove to myself nothing bad was gonna happen. But those are the kind of thoughts that go through my head almost on a daily basis. And sometimes I'm pretty good to like, no, that's wrong. No, that's not gonna happen. No, you know. But sometimes they're just so like all consuming that it's all I think about or all I can focus on. And so those are just like little things about my anxiety. And where it stems from, it really, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't have anxiety if that situation hadn't happened, but I definitely don't know that it would be the level that it is, that, you know, I don't think that I would struggle with the certain things that I do. I think I would just have more like the general everyday anxiety that people face, like not everyday anxiety, but like going to a job interview, you know? So that's my experience, that's my story. It's been really difficult to turn on the camera and talk about it. And I kind of don't want to post this video. I'm just being real with you guys because it really is hard. It's going to be hard to edit this video. And also there's just that level of like, what are people going to say? You know? And I will say that if I get any negative comments on this, I'm going to delete them, because you just don't know, like honestly guys, before you, and I don't get a lot of hate, so you know, I'm very blessed in that, but like you never know what somebody's going through. You never ever know like what they've had to go through in their life. Like looking at me, you probably wouldn't know this about me until I shared it with you. So you just never know what people are going through. So just always be kind and choose your words carefully. I know it's like so easy, and like we're all guilty of it, to say something, not even mean it that way, but because like somebody else is, you know, dealing with something, it can really hurt them. And so just be kind. If you get anything from this video, just be kind to people, because you never know what they're going through. I hope that somewhere in this, like you can be encouraged, you can feel like, okay, I've got this. Because trust me, if you feel anxious, believe me when I say you've got this, you've got this, you can do it, you can get through it, and you can get to the other side. And you know, you may have to struggle with this for the rest of your life. Like unless God chooses to heal me, I'm gonna have this for the rest of my life. But I'm not my anxiety, and I'm gonna have good days and I'm gonna have rough days, but I'm gonna get through it all because I'm strong. And you're strong if you're dealing with anxiety, depression. Like I have a whole other, like more to my anxiety story, because I did suffer with anxiety really bad when I was 12. Like it kind of all came back, and more separation anxiety and whatever, and I didn't take my medicine like I was supposed to, and it threw me into a really bad depression, which then made me suicidal. So I have like that whole story, which I didn't even cover in this video, because in this video I was just trying to cover like my types of anxiety that I have and where it stems from, that it does come from like a specific event that happened. So if you guys want to hear like the other side of things, let me know. I don't really necessarily want my whole channel to be about anxiety, but I do want to bring awareness and talk about it, because it is my truth. Like my anxiety is not who like it doesn't define me. That's not who I am, but I have it. I have anxiety, and you know, I want to, my hope is that when you see me, if you're struggling with something similar, or you know, whatever it is that you have, my hope is that you could see that, like, look, Rachel got through this and I can too, you know, because you can. It's hard, it's not easy. And even though I'm a lot better, there's still days where it's really hard. And there's days where I don't want to get out of bed, because I'm just like, all I can see is the anxiety today. All I can see is the worry. But I want you to know that you can get through it. And if you ever need somebody to talk to about anxiety, I'm here. I'm here for you. I will talk to you. encourage you in any way that I can, because you're not alone and you don't have to do it alone. No, none of us have to do it alone. So if you feel like you're alone and you just need a friend, I'm here. All right, I feel like this video has been super long and I've been just like ready to cry. It's hard. So I'm actually gonna go and continue to work today and get my mindset better. Like, I knew filming this video was gonna be hard, but I don't even know if I got everything out of my head and into this video because it was just so hard. But I do hope that after watching this, you know a little bit more about me and you feel, I don't know, you feel like you know me a little bit better and you know what I've been through and where I'm at and what I've had to overcome and how I've done that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting me. I got so many kind words whenever I said that I was thinking about sharing this with you guys, and I just want you to know that all of your kind words, all of your suggestions to help me means so much to me. It means so much to me that strangers on the internet who don't know me want to help me or they care. It means a lot, and it was so nice. It's not nice knowing other people go through these things. It's not nice knowing that people suffer with anxiety, because I would never wish this on anyone. But it's just nice to know that you're not alone. So I hope that through my video, you know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that struggles with it. You know. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me always. And I'm gonna go now before I like completely start crying. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys.